I think I've diagnosed why I can't equally space these easily. It had to do with tying off too many constraints. As you'll notice right now, I don't have these elements are now disconnected from behaving parametrically. Behaves parametrically to one side, but it's loose on the other side. And that constraint was giving me errors. So what I'm going to try and do now is reconstruct the situation. It seems like I've gotten over the problem. I'm going to actually, I need another louver in here, so let me just move this up. There was one there. It seemed to have disappeared in the screen. All right, so we have our louvers. They're not parametric to both sides, but right now that doesn't seem to work well. So let's go ahead now. I wanted this offset, and I'm going to make that a parametric value, so it's locked in. And I've created a space of 1 foot, and I lock it. And I'm going to go ahead and create our equal spacing. And now that allows me to lock that off. So now I can go ahead and extend that out and get those things to space a little more predictably. So I'll load that back into the project again. And our spacing seems to behave pretty well. We're going to actually tighten those up a little bit on the grid as we move along. But for now, we get a quick redraw. Obviously, they're not connected to each other, so we need to correct that. And that's just going back and linking those up. So we'll go back to Edit Family. I'm going to pull this down to see how this behavior changes. I'm trying to get a feeling for this distance to here and this distance to here. And it seems like we need to move this off a little more. So let's just change this parameter. Let's change it to 1'6". And that doesn't like the way you change the constraint, but we can go back in again and create that equally. We'll see if that'll help with the issue of it behaving with a gap. And then the other, the next thing I want to do then is kind of lock off. Oops, I'm using the wrong key here. I'm going to stretch these out. Grab this, like I've done before, stretch that out. That way we can see what we need to do to lock these off. And I'll move this back a little bit so it's back to a normal shape. See if we're behaving properly. I'll move this one, see if it does properly. Okay, we'll save that. And we'll load that back into the project. And now those all close up, and the spacing looks fairly accurate. I could monkey around a little bit more with the spacing, but we start to get the desired effect that we want. Okay, I'm going to leave this clip, and next I'll pick up on selecting the areas that we want to analyze. Actually, we could probably just start on that before I end the clip. So we have let me just try to hide the roof. We really want to look at where we get our maximum loading on our columns. And I'm going to pick, this is actually not the highest loaded column because there's this column back here which is picking up a larger area, but this is the one that's not supported in the midspan, so it's the longest length. So we're going to look at the kind of idea of a tributary area that happens around this region for that column. The other unique condition is how much load is suspended on the extension of this tube out here to support the load. And so we'll do a concentrated, for this cantilever, we'll do a look at this load. So we'll do a tributary load here. And then finally we'll look at a long span here and what kind of loads might be on this, just to kind of indicate whether we need additional initial supports or whether we can do it with our cross section. Well, actually we could go up to, let's keep moving on this idea. Let's go to the top of the steel. And really difficult to see. Try top of the column. I'm going to make one where we just hide the roof in view. So I'm going to go top of steel. I'm going to duplicate this. And I'm going to rename it. Oops. No roof or louvers. And then I'm going to come in and grab that and hide that in view. And let's hopefully, if we go up to a little higher resolution here, detail, we can see the column system. And we need to go down one layer. Let's see if we can do it by our bounding box. Not having much luck that way either. Let's see here. I'm going to take a break and come back to that. How are we going to visualize our steel? I can't get our steel showing up in the view. It isn't cluttered with our roof. So I want to figure out how to do that. I'll come back and then we'll build up our load.